Brrr, stick 'em. Ha ha ha, stick 'em.
Yo.
There he is. We live again.
Yeah, that came fast. Sorry.
No, it's cold, dude. Are you cold?
Yeah, you know what? That studio window is over there by you.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, because I think it's outside that's cold.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all good. It's like being at the movies. You got to stay a little bit cold, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need it to be hot. It's okay. It just keeps you sharp. Keeps things sharp. So what's been going on, man? It's time we already blew past our Halloween show. Now we are here in Thanksgiving. Friendsgiving, if you will.
Is this a Friendsgiving?
This is a Friendsgiving special. It's actually a Black Friday special.
That's right. This podcast is on sale.
Yes, that's right. It is on sale. So go ahead and click that sub button. It's free. That's the sale. You don't even have to pay for that. If you want to throw us a super chat, or if you want to go on our podcast page or a Patreon page, it's free.
Just get on one of our videos and post a comment.
Yeah.
Post a catty comment, post a smart ass comment. That's okay.
Those are the best.
Just give us that engagement. Give us just that. And we're happy. And it's free on Black Friday.
Exactly. It's free to you. And we should put an APB to the person who posted that last comment that we're trying to figure out what it means.
Yeah.
That is a strange one.
We can pull it up. No, wait, you don't have it.
Yeah, I do have it.
Okay.
I have it here. If so, it was we've been toying with getting our shorts out there, doing our thing, and we got a strange comment, and maybe you the internet can help sleuth this, because you the internet are the ones who birthed this. So it was just a comment. It was on our Max Sabbath video that we just made, and it just says, appropriate for middle school. Yippee! Men?
Men question mark.
Men question mark.
Yeah.
So 2 exclamation points and a question mark. What does that mean? And then YouTube has its handy AI that's just like, for people who don't feel like typing, they're like, YouTube wants to say, I guess that's one way to look at it. Hook 'em horns. Or the Max Sabbath experience is definitely unique. Sunglasses.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, there was a smart alecky a comment before that. True anime in real life, that's not anime anymore. If live action based on an anime, sheesh.
Whatever, nerd.
But my reply was, but it isn't based on an anime, yet it resembles an anime and it's IRL, hence anime IRL. Hashtag unsheeshed. Hashtag Who Framed Roger Rabbit. What is Roger Rabbit? Is that an animated or is that a live action?
That's live action mixed with animation.
Yeah.
Which is that's a very niche genre. They don't make a lot of those.
Did they only make 2?
What do you mean?
What's up, Anthony? Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Friendsgiving.
What's up, Anthony? 2 Roger Rabbits? They only made
No,
one?
they only made Cool World and Roger Rabbit.
No, I mean, there was a few other ones. Like we had the one where Tom and Jerry's dancing with Fred Astaire.
Oh, yeah, that was a classic.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those, but I mean, that.
Oh,
I think,
yeah, and I guess the scenes in Mary Poppins with Bert, the chimney sweep.
Right.
They were dancing a little bit there.
Right, but I think Roger Rabbit was innovative because it did the whole movie in that fashion.
It did everything.
Also, how did they get all those characters in one movie? You could never do that today.
Yeah.
It had Disney, Looney Tunes, Betty Boop. Who owns Betty Boop?
It had everything in there, dude. It was the closest we had to like Ready Player One. I don't know who owns Betty Boop, but I did read that if you noticed, the Disney and are those WB characters, they had to share. They couldn't be above or below. It had to be equal. So that's why whenever you saw one on screen, you had to see the other. That's why you had Donald and Daffy dueling pianos. They had to show them at the same time, so one wasn't above the other.
Right.
So, but yeah, I don't know even if you can pull that off anymore with the lawyers, because although they kind of understand multiverse right now, they might say, "Well, can we make money doing it, pal?" It's like, yeah, but I got this woke idea. Well, I guess we're not making money anymore. I don't know what that voice was either.
That was your studio executive.
Yeah, that was the
voice?
studio executive. Apparently, I just put a cigar down.
You didn't do the cigar arm.
Yeah,
you got to do the cigar
gotta
finger like this. Yeah.
Oh man, but we still love movies, even when there's just a bunch of silly shit that goes around it. We still love movies. We've been watching movies. I don't know about you, just like we're still hitting like two movies a clip, every week.
Yeah.
So we're gonna blaze through some of them, but I don't know if you want to talk about those first, or if you want to make a plea to the Thanksgiving movie first. What do you want to go
Say that
first?
again. What's your question?
Do you want to make a plea of why if this movie exists and why it's never noted in Thanksgiving movies? Because everybody wants to talk about planes, trains, and automobiles, or do you want to talk about?
Sure. It's on the brain right now because we just watched the trailer like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's not a lot of Thanksgiving movies, is there?
No, there's not. It feels like there's a bunch of to-be fake ones.
Is there really?
Yeah, there's just like I was like, that can't be real. Like I don't know if they're just fake posters that are out there now.
For Tubi, I'm sure there's a lot of fake posters. Because the poster for Cocaine Shark is great, but if you watch that movie, it's not as good as the poster.
No, I can totally see the poster does.
What's up, JJ?
Oh,
Son-in-Law
yes.
is a Thanksgiving movie?
Son-in-Law is a Thanksgiving movie.
had no idea. Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
That's classic. See, that breaks the entire theory. That destroys the whole bit.
Yeah, it might be. I forgot about Son-in-Law.
Well, but I mean,
Although
I
it's
think
not in this list. There's none of those movies are in this list.
What list are you on?
It's just like I just asked the Google machine, like, what's a Thanksgiving?
This is like some AI generated list of Thanksgiving movies.
Here, he's turkey
AIs
trouble.
don't understand Thanksgiving.
It doesn't. It doesn't. There's the Thanksgiving movie, and it just looks like an animated turkey. There's a movie from Tubi called Awkward Thanksgiving. 10 years ago. Has Tubi been around that long?
No, but I mean, probably the film, they made it 10 years ago, right?
Maybe. Jim Henson's Turkey Hollow. Friendsgiving. Under the Oath.
These are all Thanksgiving movies?
Yeah. A movie called Not Cool. I don't think these are real. The first one I recognized on the list was Jack and Jill with Adam Sandler, which apparently is a Thanksgiving movie.
Everything on Tubi is very
That's
real.
what's confusing me. Tubi's posters are getting here. There's a movie in here called A Thanksgiving Christmas.
Yeah. That's great.
A Thanksgiving Christmas. Like now you can't tell what's a real movie. Oh, there's JJ was right. Son-in-law's right there. Front and center. Rudy, I guess Rudy's a Thanksgiving movie?
It is?
Yeah, I don't know. A Walton's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Turkey Bowl. Amityville Horror Thanksgiving.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that one of the sequels?
I don't know. It just has an angry turkey on here. It's not Tubi, though. It's Fandango at Home, which, believe it or not, I think is a little under Tubi. An Old-Fashioned Thanksgiving is a YouTube TV movie. Yeah. But missing from this list is the movie that everyone always says Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Like, what's John Hughes' biggest Thanksgiving movie? Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, right? That's one of his classics. But then you said, why is there no love for Dutch?
Yeah, Dutch. Why does no one ever talks about Dutch as a Thanksgiving movie? That's a great Thanksgiving movie.
And it has Ed O'Neill in a
Yeah.
starring role that's a little, like, still in his Married with Children age, but before.
That's probably when he was in his Married with Children heyday, right?
Yeah, exactly. I might have been peaking there.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he's a master Brazilian jiu-jitsu artist. Did
I've
you
heard
know
about
that?
that. Yeah.
That
yeah.
when you find out that Al Bundy can beat up most people,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild. But
But
yeah,
it gives a whole other dimension to that speech he does in Wayne's World
exactly.
when he talks about killing someone.
That's
'Cause
right.
He can legit do it.
But Dutch looked good, man. It was written by John Hughes. Oh, you can't just type in Dutch because apparently that's a whole race of people and a language.
And ovens.
Yeah.
But what does it come up with when you put in Dutch?
The language. But now Dutch the movie, comedy drama, 1991, starring Ed O'Neill, Ethan Embry, and Christopher McDonald, and Jo Beth Williams. I mean, that's a pretty stellar cast for 1991 too.
I mean, that's all aces right there.
It is. It's considered a road trip comedy, America road comedy drama film, directed by Pete Feynman and written by John Hughes, starring Ed O'Neill. It was poorly received critically and was a box office bomb, although it gained major cult following after its home video release. O'Neill and Embry would later reunite as Joe Friday and Frank Smith in 2003 version of the television series Dragnet. But it's kind of strange that when you say this, it resembles Planes, Trains, and Automobiles a little bit, right?
It's pretty much the exact same story.
I mean, if Planes, Trains, and Automobiles had a baby with like Midnight Run a little bit feel in there too,
Sure.
mixed with what was the great movie that we just watched that we started watching last year? You said you were going to watch it every year now about I'm going to lose it. He goes to the boarding school. They're all stuck there over.
Oh, The Holdovers.
Yeah, The Holdovers.
Yeah. I do want to see that again. I just saw it just dropped on Prime. Yeah, it does. It is a little like The Holdovers.
Yeah, I feel that. It's just I don't know why. You know what the problem is too? I mean, there's many problems, but
What's that?
the problem is that it used to be, and Ben Affleck was talking about this too recently in an interview I was watching. It used to be you can rely on a home video release to kind of bail you out
Sure.
or to find your audience.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many movies that are considered cult classics now, or just classics, not even cult classics that found their feet on VHS at home, even on DVD.
Sure.
They found their feet on. You can't find your footage at home.
Nobody rents a movie.
No,
Who rents movies? Nobody will ever rent a movie again.
no, and it's just like, and the whole drop of a drop of water in the ocean. I feel like streaming can't always save you.
Streaming is killing movies. Honestly, it's the death of cinema.
They
They should shut it down.
And it's interesting, though, because remember, it was when a movie went direct to video at home, it was almost considered, this is not going to be a good movie.
Right.
But think about this. This is a day and age now where direct to home video is George Clooney and Brad Pitt.
Right.
What? If you had to list the top people that are technically not celebrities, that are like movie stars. Stars, their stardom is based on the movies and the movies they select. And that movie that's on Apple, I still haven't even watched it yet.
Yeah.
And it's got George Clooney and Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's not even direct to home video. You understand? It's not even that. See, direct to home video meant it went to a tape, and you'd have to go get the tape, whatever. This is direct to your phone, direct to your watch. So it's like it's just it's like when everybody, what was that one time? Remember they stuck the U2 album on everybody's iPod.
Oh yeah, and they were trying to figure out how to get it off.
Yeah.
They didn't even want it.
It's
get this
that,
off.
It's that. It's like nobody even requested it. Nobody bought a ticket. It's just like if you have an iPhone, he's going to shoot a George Clooney, Brad Pitt movie at you.
That doesn't even make
But you heard what the director bounced on the sequel.
Yeah.
They offered him the sequel. He said, no, thank you.
Yeah, he gave him the money back.
Yeah.
Dude, he's in, we know, raising funds is not easy. He gave the money back.
And he had
I don't want your money.
The two biggest stars in the world guaranteed to be in that movie and said, no, thank you.
Yeah. Holy cow. So, yeah, you didn't, something like Dutch could get easily, kind of get lost in the shuffle. I mean, its budget was $17 million for 1991, which is a little high.
It's a good budget.
Right? But, I mean, the box office by itself was 4.8. But it found its footing at home, but then must have kind of got lost in the shuffle, probably because the Big Brother film, which is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
Which people's just watch that, over and over. And did Ed O'Neill just not have enough star power to keep that afloat? Because I feel like now...
Well, you mean he has zero star power, honestly. Let's be real. He's a TV actor.
Yeah.
It's like, they tried to build him into a movie actor. Well, he had some big roles in the 70s, I think. But he's a TV actor. He's not really a movie actor.
Yeah, I mean, this next generation knows him from Modern Family. And, I mean, he's had two solid TV runs. Solid TV runs.
I mean, a few before even he had hits. He was, on Miami Vice and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, he was on Miami Vice.
But he was in the French Connection sequels. He replaced Gene Hackman in the French Connection sequels.
Oh man, that's amazing to think.
So I mean, they took a swing with Ed O'Neill, but I don't know what happened. I don't know why folks didn't gravitate to this.
Man, Ed O'Neill and Gene Hackman in a movie together.
I bet probably people just saw him so much as Al Bundy at the time, they could not open their minds to Ed O'Neill in another role, which was still kind of similar to Al Bundy, but didn't do the Al Bundy memes or the Al Bundy, what would you call it? The Al Bundy sayings.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No pig.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something like that.
No,
right?
no, ma'am.
Yeah.
Or just the old hand in the pants.
So I think folks did not gravitate toward this movie. But I think it's great Thanksgiving. We should throw it on. I mean, there is hookers and hobos and some drug use, mild drug use. But that was John Hughes.
That was definitely John Hughes. I mean, what would John Hughes do in a canceling generation? He'd be in trouble.
Well, he tapped out before the canceling generation. So
Yeah.
I don't think he wanted it. Even when those kids went to make that documentary about him, did you see that one? Mm-mm. They made a whole John Hughes documentary, and at the end of his life, he became a pretty big recluse, and they tried for years to just get him to just respond to them and do a part or just do something, and he never just did anything.
Yeah, just like an artist, like a true artist, right? He just kind of almost like you pass not knowing how well your art is represented.
Right.
I mean, what was in Ready Player One? They dedicated a whole planet in that world. It was just a John Hughes planet. I mean, that's powerful. But it is funny, the last line in Wikipedia. As Doyle walks away, Dutch pulls a BB gun that Doyle originally shot him with and finally gets his friend by shooting him in the groin. Sorry, should we have said spoiler alert? Now you know.
No, it's like a 40-year-old movie.
I don't know the statute of limitations for spoilers, but yeah.
It's like 3 weeks.
Yes, that's true.
It's not 40 years.
It's funny. Back, I know we're going to stop jumping around. We're going to confuse the algorithm.
I forgot what we were talking about already. How did we end? We're already way off.
We'll end up in a dirt road. But I remember I heard the original ending for Return of the Jedi about Darth Vader confirmed to be the father and Princess Leia to be the sister on the radio on the way to school. Just some DJ just rattled it off like nothing.
What?
Yeah. That DJ would be fired now. like on the radio just the way to school. Oh, he went so Return Jedi, man, it's a great
Wait,
movie.
I need more insight on this. Describe to me how he said it.
He said it like in passing.
So you're going to school.
Going to school, listening to the radio.
You get in the car.
Shock jock early in the morning.
What
did you do last night? I went and saw Return of the Jedi, man. It was great. Not only Darth Vader, his father, but Princess Leia's his sister. And he kissed her. So anyway, and you're like, and as a little kid, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, I didn't get to go to the movies whenever I wanted back then. I'm like, wait, I was just like, I had no idea what just happened.
Nobody had any concept of spoilers back then.
No.
But that's wild.
Yeah. No, that's just like, I have a big problem with spoilers, as you know. And I think...
Wait, but that was an Empire. You sure it was Empire?
No, that was Jedi because when they confirmed the sister. Like, we knew the Luke, I am your father thing.
Okay,
but remember there was a time that between Empire and Jedi, when he said that, you thought he was lying. It was not confirmed in the movie, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't confirmed till later on.
Yeah.
But like, so you had to wait 3 years to like, wait, do you think you think he really is his father?
Yeah.
Like now it's a given.
Yeah.
But back then it was not a given.
Well, you know, like you say, you couldn't see movies whenever you wanted. Yeah, that was the thing. I actually I never saw Empire Strikes Back until years after Jedi. I saw Star Wars and then Return of the Jedi.
Oh, really?
And I missed Empire completely. I didn't see Empire till years later.
Machete cut was always in your blood, man.
I don't know. It just it was just one of those things. It's just like Empire was on HBO and my grandma only had Showtime, so you know, we never saw it. Just never saw it. I don't know why we didn't see it on tape either. But like, I remember just skipping right from Star Wars to. Well, I never saw Star Wars in the theater either, so it was really just. Return of the Jedi was the first one I actually just saw in the theater.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
you never got the theatrical? Did you go remedy that? Did you go see any of the re-releases?
Maybe, but the ones with the new effects, forget that.
Oh yeah, you weren't interested in
Yeah,
that.
I mean, yeah, no, but I probably went and I just blurted out in my mind. It's just like, yeah,
That was late. That was not only was he trying to show his retro stuff, but he was also trying to get people hyped for Phantom Menace because
Yeah.
that was like mid '90s. They started releasing them every once to get people hyped for.
they were trying to raise budget. What happened?
I was just trying to figure out how we ended up here. I think we were talking about Dutch.
Solid Thanksgiving movie.
Dutch, yes. I feel like, because you notice that Apple and to rent, like whoever's streaming Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, that around this first week, they hide it and then they force you to get to try to rent it.
Oh yeah,
It might be the one time you're like, you're going to rent this. We don't care what you're going to say.
Right.
And you might not have a choice because your whole family's around. Put on Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You
Yeah.
don't really have a choice.
and we're renting it's $4 a year.
Yeah.
Or $4.99 every year, unless you just buy it for $9.99.
Exactly.
Why would you do that? Or you could just wait till TNT plays it with commercials nonstop.
I'm surprised they haven't done that. The old Dutch to the Star Wars pipeline, man. Yeah, it looked like the Windows 95 screensaver pipes. Like,
Yeah.
how did you get to that? Just keep following it. You get there eventually.
Well, I mean, now that we're talking about this, Ed O'Neill would have made an awesome Jedi. Can you imagine him? Like, I feel like he would have been great in the Star Wars, like in the whole Jedi outfit.
Oh yeah, judo toss Jedi.
Yeah,
I mean,
Judo Jedi for sure.
he would be really great. Oh, but you know, Disney owns it now, so the greatness is over. Just let it go.
Let everything go.
Yeah, just let it go.
Just forget everything.
There's been a really solid run of non-IP movies that we've been on here. It's been really, really solid. Like I'm if people say that they don't make enough original movies, that all they do is make comic book movies, you're not looking hard enough and you're not going to the movies.
Yeah, but understand also, it's also because of the strike. The strike shut down all the IP movies for a long time, so we got a lot of smaller indies coming through now, getting more attention than they normally would.
Man, but they're great. I mean, it's been really good. So you think it's going to go away? I don't feel like it's going to go away though.
I mean, they're doing well, so hopefully they'll stick around. I mean, independent films are definitely making a dent. Terrifier 3 made $84 million. on a $2 million budget.
Most profitable non-rated film of all time.
Yeah. I mean, that's huge.
I was talking to our buddy Joel, who has a podcast as well, and he was talking about comparing it to, and I never really thought about it, but he's accurate. It's just like it's today's version of what people experience with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Mm-hmm. Like the way people talk about Terrifier today is the way I remember my parents and their friends talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It's like an urban legend a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, probably even more so then because you didn't have the ability to say, Google that and say, see what that's about and find clips and find the past. All you can do is just like, oh, I know somebody who has the tape or something. Oh, let's go see it or try to go to a video store. Like, and this was even before Blockbuster and try to figure out, hey, do you guys carry this movie called The Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah. We have one copy.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be back tonight. You can wait.
Exactly. Man, how much did that add to that urban legend?
Yeah, that adds a lot.
You know, so I feel like that's happening with Terrifier today because
it is, but it's like in this instance, it's more like I feel like it's almost like a dare, right, to go see Terrifier. Can you sit? Because again, I think that it's if you look at it from very far away perspective, it's like the most generic idea with the most generic name. You know, it's a psycho killer clown, and the movie's called Terrifier. It's a word that doesn't even exist in the English language.
Yeah,
it's just like something that a 6-year-old would make up, honestly, right?
And it was
And now it's just like it's become this underground. I wouldn't say it's gone mainstream yet, but I mean it's definitely activated more people in the third one, right?
Way more, yeah.
And people are just like, we want to go see what happens in Terrifier. Part 4 is going to just explode.
I know.
Like, I don't even know. Like, because at this point, it's like so many people have been indoctrinated. They're watching the old ones, and they get what the movie is. The movie is a dare to watch this movie.
Yeah,
you know,
it is a dare.
And so by the time Part 4 comes out, I think that it's definitely going to break 100 milli this time.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
I don't know, Anthony or JJ. I don't know if you guys saw Terrifier 3 yet. It was, to me, it was just as jarring the second time that it was the first time when we saw it at Fantastic Fest. We had a lot of people with us and they were cheering and stuff. But the second time when you're in a theater with just a couple other people and my son was kind of like, whoa, what is watching? It was jarring is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But it's still art.
But shout out to Fantastic Fest because that's the only place where you can see 2 movies with chainsaws up the ass.
Yeah.
It's like you thought you were just going to get one and you get another one the next day. And then that one wins Best Picture.
Exactly. Wait, Anthony, you watched that in with VR goggles?
VR? Oh, wait, where you go in the VR movie theater?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's why I've done that for a couple. I didn't stay for the whole movie, though, because I still trying to get my bearings when you do that. That's wild. That's got to be a completely different experience.
I have yet to do that.
Oh, no headset. I thought it was in the headset. You have, oh, dude. Yeah, we talked about that, man. It's wild. But I didn't mean to take us down the Terrifier train because I was talking about non-IP movies doing
the AI editor is gonna have a hard time with this episode.
Yeah. But I gotta show you here. I did a thing.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh wait, but it got annulled. Anora, bro. It's, you were talking about Anora during Fantastic Fest, and they only had like one screen of it, right?
We couldn't get a seat.
We did not get a seat, and you were like, I really want to see it. And I just kept punting until I finally just buckled down. I snuck out of a work event.
Yeah.
Then like, I'm going to watch Anora.
Okay, you said, what did you think it was going to be?
I don't know. I literally just don't. I remember watching a little bit of the trailer, and I was kind of going in. I guess the closest I can think I thought I was going to see a version of Pretty Woman.
Sure.
Which I guess it is a version of Pretty Woman.
It's exactly that, yeah.
It is a version of Pretty Woman, but yeah. I had no idea it was just going to be this, like you said, it's almost 2 movies, and that's a really good way to put it. So, stripper, does her thing. They do a thing. A Russian, what is he? An oligarch?
Yeah.
Oligarch said, "Let's get married, and I can become a citizen." And then I thought we were going to kind of go like, what happens with that? Like trying to find that adjustment.
Like she was going to be at awkward dinners.
Yes. Just like we're going to go shopping, and all of a sudden she's got like this bottomless credit card. And
Yeah.
like, big mistake. Big mistake.
She was going to take him shopping in Jersey. Or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. It was, and then it was just like when the mobs. I guess they're mobsters, right? Or mob-ish.
I don't know. I don't know. They're not mobsters.
No, they're just
They're just
really intimidating
day
guys.
players.
But then, like,
Because it's okay. We've got okay. So Anora, we've got it's it's Toros. I don't remember the other guy's name. And the other
Toros.
guy's name was he had well, we gotta look. Can you pull it up?
yeah.
Anyway, I don't think they're mobsters. They're just like day players that work for this oligarch, right? Toros is definitely like works for him, and he's like he's there to look after Vanya, the son.
The son, yep.
The other dude is sort of like he's also sort of like he's Toros's right hand man.
Right hand man.
Yeah, and then the other guy,
Not Igor, right?
Igor.
Yeah.
Igor is like the day player that they brought just in case. He's the muscle,
Yeah.
right?
But he wasn't like you said, maybe he wasn't mob. Maybe he was just somebody who was like good at arm wrestling or something.
I don't think they were mob. These are just like day players.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
might be right. But and then when they broke into when they went into the house.
They don't break into the house.
You're right, they do. He has a key.
Yeah.
Right? He does have a key.
Yeah.
But when they go into the house, that scene just went on and on and on. And don't get me wrong, it was very entertaining, but I thought eventually it was going to end.
Well, you have to okay. Like you say, you got to pull it back. And he said this movie is not 2 movies; it's 3 movies. Okay, it's 3 movies. So you've got the beginning of the movie, which starts off in the strip club, and it's got that pop song and dances and everything. And then you get to meet Anora and all that stuff, and then you get the love with Vanya showing up, and it's whirlwind romance. That's Pretty Woman, right?
Right.
And that goes on. They get married. All this stuff happens, and it goes right. There's a shot where there's a helicopter shot off a balcony where it's like everything's just grand. Movie number 1 ends right there, right? And then movie number 2 is this whole like we got to find Vanya and get this annulled, which starts the next day where he's like playing video games and not Toros, the other guy shows up. The other guy and Igor show up.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh no, they're married. We have to get this annulled. And it turns into this. It goes from being romantic, just whirlwind romance, Pretty Woman thing, to being this like goofy comedy where it's like, dude, we gotta find Vanya and like get this annulled, you know? And they're like going to the what beach are that they're on there?
It was at Brighton Beach.
Brighton Beach.
Yeah.
And lots of like Brighton Beach scenery out there.
But dude, the fight. Oh, go ahead. So I don't mean to cut you off.
No. You're not cutting me off. Go on.
No, that was just that. But that fight inside that house when they were trying to say we're going to get this annulled, and when he says we're getting out of here, put your clothes on, and then he runs, and she never gets her clothes on, and then there's the next 10 minutes of just like they wouldn't let her leave the house, but he already ditched her.
Yeah.
And it was just like
He's gone for the entire
he's gone.
middle of the movie. Like the trailer, that's the thing where the trailer is deceptive. You think he's going to be there. No, he's gone.
He's gone. And they're like politely trying to subdue her.
Yeah.
And you're waiting. I guess that's what added. It added such a tension that you were waiting for any second because she was fighting and she was fighting hard, right? She definitely, her street roots, right, came through just like she can hold her own.
Yeah.
And they made it clear. And she was fighting hard.
Yeah.
And you were waiting for one of them to like, okay, she's going to get hit. She's going to get smacked. She's going to get nothing. And she starts beating the crap out of it. Like she bit him on the neck and they're like, they tied her up and like, why are you tying her up? Don't untie her. You're like, you can't untie her. She's going to run. Then she gets untied and then she starts beating them up again. And they're just politely subduing her.
So I'm saying they're not gangsters.
Oh man. And then,
I mean, Toros is a priest.
yeah, that's what he is, right? That's the thing is what did his parents do?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know that we got to that, but they're obviously like Russian billionaires.
Right.
They probably own a lot of businesses.
So it just took forever to get to that part, and then they're
Yeah.
going to just cut her a low ball deal, like
Yeah.
10K, and you'll get 10K for your problems. And then I think she was just going along with it because she wanted to find him. Then you had the on the road adventure of all night long trying to find him.
Right.
And
So that's movie number 2. Right. And then you get movie which it goes on forever, and it's just like it's like its own little like indie movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
It feels very much like something that it feels like a Martin Scorsese movie or something, but it's looking for somebody all night. But
That could have been its own movie. So I don't disturb you. Maybe the AI can be a little bit better with this. Do your theory of movie 1, movie 2, movie 3, and I won't interrupt you.
well, right. Well, movie 2 ends when they get to the courthouse and they try to get it annulled, and they're like, "No, you can't do it here. You have to go to Vegas." That's right. And that's the end of movie number 2.
That was so cool when that happened. You're like, wait, now we're going to Vegas.
Right after everything that they went through to find Vanya and get him to the courthouse.
It's like they somehow stretched out, and I love this movie, so I say this in a very positive light. They somehow stretch out something that would happen like in a sitcom,
Right.
but in a great, like just the film, you just couldn't get enough of it.
I think
though.
that's what Sean Baker does is he takes these really corny old concepts, something that would be a goofy screwball comedy in the 30s, and takes these ideas and turns them into these sort of like films about characters that wouldn't necessarily be in those movies, like a stripper or like other movies he's done about porn stars, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because he had his eye on Mikey Madsen for a while.
Yeah.
He literally did the Cliff Booth, and I remember your white little face, because he couldn't get it. He said he's going to eventually get her in the movie, and they pulled it off. And man, is this movie strong enough to get her? Like, it seems like a lock for some Oscar noms, right?
She's getting the rub. She's going to get a nomination for sure. There's no way she doesn't get nominated. As far as winning, I don't know who else is going to be in the running. This is a weird year. I feel like it was mostly horror movies this year.
Yeah, it did
You know what I
feel
mean?
like that.
I can't think of a lot of Oscar caliber movies that even exist. But I mean, I haven't seen The Brutalist, which I don't think has released anywhere, which is going to be a big Oscar movie. And
Wait, well, it has to come out then in the next month, right?
yeah, it's going to come out in the next month.
Okay.
But it's already been playing at festivals and whatnot. I think Substance is going to get some love. I think Demi Moore might get the nomination.
Oh, that would be good.
But Mikey Madison's definitely getting one. And by the way, sidebar, cut this out, AI Opus clip if you're watching. Sidebar, I just realized something while watching it the second time. Mikey Madison, here you go. When you do the next Harley Quinn, I think that's your go-to.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
100%, right?
Yeah, that's a great casting.
It's
She
gotta
was
be.
so good because it's just her presence. She's been stealing scenes since every movie we've seen her in, right?
Right.
And the Scream, and she was very memorable in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then this, I mean, you would think it's her. Obviously, she's beautiful, but also she's very intense. Like if you grew up north and you're always afraid to date a Jersey girl that is not afraid to go in the tunnels and scrap.
Yeah.
That's her.
Yeah.
So there was just something about her. It's just so appealing.
And
So
that's a
appealing.
big part of why the movie is so appealing, because it's just like she literally, like, the movie's called Anora, whatever, but like she's by herself the whole movie against the Russian oligarchy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And she's fighting them. And
Like biting their necks and
biting them,
stuff.
breaking their noses and stuff like that. Yeah.
And it's so the guy. I don't know if that was it Igor, the guy that was the muscle that was
Igor.
hired.
That was Igor.
Like the way you can see in his eyes, like first when he was fighting, like trying to like subdue her, you saw all of a sudden him like starting to fall in love with her.
You get it from the beginning. Well, from when she punches him.
Yeah. There was just something about that. And I feel like he became us because I think we were just kind of staying in love with her. And no matter how intense things got, you realize that she got screwed, right? And no one's going to believe her. Like, who's going to believe you? You're just What did his
Yeah.
mom? You're just a dirty sex worker. You do this for money. No one's
Right.
gonna believe you.
Right.
But she's so. There's just something so magnetic about her for the audience. You're gonna root for her, and you saw him fall in love with. I mean, it had the awkward tie up where he kind of cow tied her, and
Yeah.
then he was standing behind her, just like, what are
Yeah,
you
there's
doing?
that's like it's so skillful, the direction, the way you have these weird, awkward comedic moments in what you think should be a scary moment.
Right.
You know?
Oh, I just kept waiting, dude. Like no gun ever got pulled. Nothing. No. You're just waiting for it, and it just never happened. And
Right.
but it's not like you were let down by it. It was just like he managed to make you feel this tension the entire time of like another big, more dangerous shoe was gonna drop.
Yeah.
And it weirdly never did, but it came off so comedic, man. Because
No.
like the characters that they were running into in the middle of the night, and I was watching an interview with Mikey Madsen, and she said some of those were shot guerrilla style.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of like Sean Baker's thing is he goes very guerrilla style and he likes to use practical sets and he doesn't want to shoot in a studio. He wants to shoot in a real building where things look lived in and you know what I mean? It's things you can't really recreate. And again, like I said, I saw that interview with the DP and he was talking about how they just and it's crazy to think of this that someone could do this in a I mean, it's a small film, but still, that they're in there shooting this with not like they don't have the shots blocked out on you know like what do they call them
On the storyboards?
storyboards. They don't have storyboards for the shots. They're letting the actors act, and they're following them, and they're framing it that
Yes.
way, and they're playing off of their emotions and how they react, and you know just capturing things naturally, you know, and that stuff is like. You take that and you put the real sets in there. You put the real people. He loves to throw real people in there. You know.
That's what she was talking about. She's like, there was 2 or 3 people that are like, why did you come in here again to show us the picture of this kid that you can't find? We told you we don't know where it was.
Yeah.
Not realizing
Yeah,
that they're shooting a movie. They thought they were doing like a documentary or something.
Yeah, and this is probably his most like commercial film, right? So if you go backwards in his filmography, watch some of the other ones, you see stuff where they'll just like go to a yard sale and they'll send their actor in there to interact in the yard sale and steal shots, you know, and then he'll buy a shirt and be wearing it in the next scene. They just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just a thing. And it's like the thing about like, I feel like great directing, great filmmaking is like, you have to operate on instinct a little bit.
Yeah.
It can't be all planned out, you know? There's a little bit of just magic that you bring yourself. But yeah, this is one of those movies.
You lose that magic when it gets a little too planned out, a little
Right.
less organic.
Right.
Oh, I didn't realize he's the one who wrote the Florida Project.
Who?
Sean Baker.
Oh, he directed it too. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't seen that. I remember I wanted to see it and I never did.
I think if you're going to watch his film, I think you should revisit some of his films. They're all really good, but you can see like I said, this one is like the biggest and like the most accessible. But like if you watch, I think Red Rocket, I think you should watch first just because it feels the closest to this style. You know, Florida Project is great. The ending is a whopper. He's good with the whopper endings.
Dude.
And Tangerine is like really, really good too as well.
Oh,
that's the one he shot on an iPhone.
Oh, he shot that on an iPhone?
He shot it on an iPhone, and it's about like it centers on like some transsexual prostitutes in LA and just like hangs with them while they're having their stuff going on and they're having, you know, it's and having just like regular problems to, you know, they think one of their boyfriends is cheating, they're trying to put on a play. It's really good, and it just he's really like
Oh yeah,
he's really good at utilizing the iPhone aesthetic.
that looks really good. That looks really good.
I recommend all his films. I haven't seen all of them because a few of them are like super, super indie and hard to find. But I've seen the last 5, 6.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, he's because he directed a Greg the Bunny.
Yeah, he was a writer on Greg the Bunny.
Man, but speaking of the ending, and we probably don't need to spoil it. Just put it out there. But I guess this is not really a spoiler because the ending is
You can spoil it.
kind
The
of
movie came out years ago.
no, for Anora. Like it kind of it ended the way you expected and not the way you expected at the exact same time. And it had a very awkward, somewhat of a downer ending, depending on how you look at it. Because depending on where it ended at that moment, like you didn't know what was going to happen after that, but it's ending it at that moment and choosing to just cut to black with no music, and then all of a sudden the lights just came up in the house, and like, okay, it's over. Like, I don't think do you remember the last time a film ended with no music over the credits? Like that?
Nothing comes to mind, but I'm sure there's one. I'm sure there's something. But, yeah.
That added to the jarring effect of that ending. Like you said, like you called it a 70s ending. I totally agree with that. It had that very 70s ending. Like it could have ended on a freeze-flame burnout screen, and that could have been the end. But it still was very heavy. I guess I'm going to stick with heavy.
What did it make you? What do you mean heavy? How do you?
It just made me. I interpret like.
You can spoil it. It's okay. They've seen Anora. They've all seen it. All 4 of the people watching, y'all all saw it, right?
My interpretation of it was just. It was almost she was angry for getting the empathy she was getting, and she had caught feelings in the marriage, I think, right? And
For sure, yeah.
And started 100%. To go in that direction. And then it was almost like, why are you catching feelings for me when I'm too busy mourning the feelings that I just caught that just got cut loose? But maybe I should. But why are you being so nice to me? Like, it was very conflicted, I felt heavy and conflicted, and that's everything that transpired in that last scene.
Yeah.
Heavy and conflicted. Like, oh, thank you. F you. Damn you.
Yeah.
Like all at once.
Yeah. What an amazing thing to pull off in the set is just a car. You know what I mean? Two people sitting in a car.
Snow,
and so many emotions happening. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that
was so good.
It was just a lot going on because, again, I think it's the thing that you forget, or maybe that you just glance over, is that she's alone the whole time.
Yeah,
she's got nobody backing her up. She's got one friend at the strip club. You know what I mean? But other than that, she's got nobody. She hates her roommates. She's got no family. And she's basically now against the whole Russian oligarchy.
Right. And
I think when you get to this ending, it's like after everything has happened to her, obviously she caught feelings. She let herself buy. I feel like she let herself buy into it, right?
She did, yeah.
And that's what it was.
And she was hesitant at first. She didn't want to do it at first.
No.
And then she went along for the ride.
Yeah. And she buys into this whole thing and just goes for it. And she doesn't even get a chance to feel that before, she's getting not propositioned by Igor or whatever, but he's just letting her know that, he likes her or whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? But it
was a very indecent proposal.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think it was an indecent proposal. They do have sex in the car.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like that's just her reaction, right?
Yeah.
That's her instinct.
That is her instinct, exactly.
Right.
It's like, okay, you paid me with this thing you stole.
Yeah.
You got it back for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay you. Oh, wait, but you expect more for this.
Right.
Damn you.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. For this film, who would you consider the true antagonist? Who's the heel?
Vanya.
For real? Yeah, that's
Vanya.
So
I think he becomes the heel
halfway through.
Yeah,
in halfway through movie number 2.
Well, I mean, he technically
he
becomes the heel when he runs away.
Yeah,
and we don't realize it till we find him.
So in a way, us as the audience went through the same thing as her because we were rooting for her.
That's the idea, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, no, he wouldn't scream. He's coming back.
No, and she wants to believe it the whole time.
And I think in a way we kind of did too. If you take somebody here that wants to see a movie based on the Cinderella story, the unlikely romance, there's going to be people rooting for that. And I think everybody kind of was. And then he becomes the heel. But wait, this is the guy we're rooting for?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's the arc. It's like he's gone, and she believes it the whole time that he's still, that there's still hope, right?
Yeah.
Even though he's run away. And when they finally find him and he sobers up, because there's a whole sequence where he's too drunk to even, you know what I mean? That's how much they draw it out. Even after they find him, he's drunk for another 20 minutes, right? Before they can get a straight answer out of him.
Yes, exactly, man.
And as soon as he's like sober enough to finally react to the situation, he's just like, okay, we getting old now. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Like she, like not even for a second. And then he calls her stupid in that one moment, like when they're trying to get on the plane.
Oh yeah, that was it. That was bad.
And that was like it. And it just flips everything.
And here's the thing too, that and it hit me, and that's why this movie was so great, you know, and the originality of it. When the oligarch muscle, whatever you want to call them, the day players come in, everything they say about him is true.
Yeah.
But we've been trained for many, many years of movies like this, of just like, the parents are going to be against you, his family's going to be against you, but love conquers all.
Exactly.
And you're going to win this.
Yeah.
And the whole time, we were expecting that.
And exactly. You're expecting the end to find, like, there's a moment in when Vanya proposes, is like, let's get married, whatever, right? And they're like going to that whole scene, and he's like, are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. And they kind of start that Anora music,
right?
It starts right there, and it's just like, it's almost like that happens. And when you get to the end, and Igor has the ring and gives it back to her, you expect that music to start right there again. Right. You know what I mean? But you don't get it. Instead, it's just this cold. They're cold in his mom's car, and he's, and that's it. And like, he's about to drop her off, and the fantasy is about to be over.
Yeah, it's so wild, dude.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. It's just all so unexpected, like almost to the point where like he used our knowledge and emotions of films that we previously seen to manipulate our feelings of this. Because you're just waiting for everything to be okay,
right?
In just like in the fantasy that we went along for, and it really just never happens. It's exactly what they say. Oh no, he's a screw up. I don't know why he did this to you. We'll give you this money, and you're like, no, that can't be true.
Yeah.
They told us that way back in early Act 1. That as soon as that happens, and then they draw out and show exactly what they said.
Yeah,
the whole time.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, I just like the journey was so fun, and that's the point of it. It's just like the journey was the destination in the sense. We just got to see the players along the way, and just like all of a sudden he gets in the argument with the youth today. They don't understand hard work.
Yeah,
and at that point you almost start like
it's funny. It gets funny.
It does, and you were rooting for the person that you would have thought in our traditional sense would have been the antagonist, right? The Russian oligarch here, they're the heels. But now you're like kind of like, yeah, he's kind of right. He's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And then the car getting towed, and it's like he tries desperately, and then finally gets pushed, and it's like, I can't believe you made me do this.
And that's also another thing that I just think the car getting towed stuck out to me as just like in any other movie, in Jingle All the Way, the car gets towed and it's gone. And we have to figure out to get another car. Yeah. Instead, he like hops in the car and like gets it off the tow, which never happens, man.
No, he pulled the whole bumper off and then they just drove away.
Yeah, no, it would be like in like a classical Hollywood comedy. It'd be like the car gets towed, the Escalade gets towed, and now they're in a Fiat all crammed in there. You know what I mean? That would have been what they did, but instead they actually get the car off the thing.
That's what I mean. That's brilliant filmmaking, right? Using expectations against us to tell the story, to take us down a way that we've never went before.
How does this movie rank as like a New York movie?
Oh, very high.
Yeah,
very high. Like this just felt like this could have been the next morning after any Jersey Shore or whatever you want to say. It just, you felt the diner, you felt the snow, you felt the streets. I think they did a great job of hitting that moment, of like hitting that area too. I think it was like Kimmel or someone when I was obsessed and I was following all her interviews and stuff. And like he grew up around that area. He's like, man, you guys like shot like basically right in my backyard, and it felt exactly the same.
Yeah.
I've grown in that area, so I would definitely put that high rankings. But yeah, man, it was a great movie.
So I think it'll get the nod. I think that Mike Madison is a lock, at least for a nomination. Golden Globe, probably Oscar. I think so. I think Best Picture. I think it'll get the Best Picture nod.
Yeah,
I think everybody else that I've has seen this movie and texted me about it. It's like it's my favorite movie of the year.
yeah, easily. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like. This was another movie that I'm like, if you think there's no what they call adult movies or non-IP or superhero movies that are out there, you're not looking hard enough. They're there.
Yeah.
You just got to go support them.
Yeah.
So. Dude, I was just watching another clip of her, and then Quentin Tarantino, like what kind of kindred spirit does he have with Hollywood that whole Once Upon a Time in Hollywood B players cast are now going to be the next level megastars. And you can do that because we have this, and then we have Pussycat in The Substance.
Right.
And which was another movie that we saw that if you have not seen original movies, you're not looking hard enough because this movie is another one that is wild. Did this show at Fantastic Fest?
No, it didn't, which I thought was crazy. But like this one, it played at Cannes and then it got scooped up by Mubi, or I don't know if Mubi funded it to begin with. But can you imagine? Had it played Fantastic Fest, this would have brought the house down.
Yeah, no, and it was perfect for Fantastic. I mean, this is nothing.
I can't believe. Yeah, it's wild that it didn't.
How do you not like? The originality in this was pretty wild. This was really, really cool. And it's just, this one doesn't give too much away of just like the sinister stuff behind it, right? You don't even know what the motive is. You just like, it was almost like if you took like the health and beauty world and mixed it with Gremlins. Because you're like, this is fine, you can do this, but you have this set of rules that you have to follow. And if you don't follow these rules, bad things are going to happen.
It's exactly Gremlins, you're right.
And just like, and then all of a sudden you're not starting to follow the rules and you're starting to see the side effects.
Or a monkey's paw or whatever. Yeah, it's a fable.
Yeah.
It's a fable.
That's a good way to put it. It is a fable.
Yeah.
But Demi Moore, she was awesome.
She's great.
Was that like real nudity?
What do you mean?
Like there was a lot of close-ups of her, like naked close-ups.
Yeah.
And I can't tell if that was like real or because I saw somewhere that Margaret Qualley, who's the other Once Upon a Time in Hollywood star, that said that she had like fake enhancements that she had put on for some of the scenes. And I didn't know if that was true with Demi Moore or not, because those shower scenes were pretty intense.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of gross stuff. But the most normal and gross thing to me in The Substance was Dennis Quaid eating those shrimp.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Or was
what
it,
was that sauce?
Was it crawfish?
No,
or
it was shrimp. It was shrimp.
I don't know what that sauce was. It was,
it was like an orange. Who dips their shrimp in orange sauce?
And you just heard like that, like you heard it. And they had that very cool. What's the lens? What lens did they use? That it was the.
It's like a super wide.
Like it, but it's a fisheye, or almost like you were looking through a peephole.
Yeah.
When they like zeroed in on his face and like everything about him.
Yeah.
He was he was a great heel. He was a great scum. Like we were talking about the scumbag, producer with the big fat cigar. He did a great job.
Yeah.
But again, Margaret Qualley, and to go like shot for shot here with Demi Moore, I think these two are got to be a lock for some awards too, right?
I think Demi for sure. I don't know about Margot Qualley, but I think this movie would get the nod for screenplay.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Screenplay, and it won screenplay in Cannes, so that's definitely going to give it some props. But I think the screenplay is like really, really good.
Yeah, no, again, it's so original. Like, and you called it. We were trying to think of all the movies it reminded us. No, I sent you that clip of all the things it was inspired by, and then the King Kong at the end, the whole running through the streets. I was like, wow, yeah, that is another one.
Yeah.
I love the ode to Hollywood films. Like, even doesn't even have to be in the same genre. They just went for the same shot. Like,
Yeah.
right with The Shining, they had that same look down camera stuff. But
Yeah.
you saw this multiple times. Like, how is it getting with each repeated viewing?
It's just one of those movies that's going to build it, like just plant itself in your mind as a classic. I think, like, you know what I mean. You're just gonna always remember, and it's like anytime you bring it up, it comes up, and someone says you haven't seen it. It's like, oh, you haven't seen it. Oh, you know what I mean. You're gonna pitch it to them.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like it's because it's not just the story itself. It's the style. You know, the way
Yeah,
it
very
looks,
style, yeah.
the way it's shot, you know, the over the top nature of how many just, you know, like what is it called? Like they call it the male gaze, right? The male
yes.
gaze is like when things are shot like that. Like it's a very 90s thing. And it's like this is like a female director and she takes that and just does it and overdoes it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like I think that it just feels like it's going to be a classic that you will always revisit and always pitch to people who haven't seen it. You know, and it's just the end gets so gross. Again, we're in Terrifier territory, where it's also going to be a dare to watch it. You know what I mean?
I remember you told me you're
'Cause
just like the movies that made you the most queasy or the grossest movies, Terrifier and The Substance, and I'm like, The Substance, really? I had no-
Substance made me way more queasy because Terrifier, you know what you're getting.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? This is like emotional body horror.
right.
You know?
Oh man,
Like
that's
that
that's strong.
that first time when Margaret Qualley stays out too late and the finger turns.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Emotional body horror.
Yeah.
That is powerful. That is strong. Yeah, just the symbol. Yeah, the finger, just like the reused hole where the needle kept going back into
The chicken.
yeah. Oh, the chicken. That's right.
All the chicken that gets eaten in this movie. I mean, aside from the shrimp.
Yeah, the shrimp one still gets me. I mean, I feel like that one pops up a lot
Yeah.
on clips, but again, this is another powerful, you know, do you think that so you're saying that the strike, so we're a little bit like people were taking chances, making these, you know, non-IP independent like films with a little bit of budget. You think that's going to go away next year? Like Marvel had only one movie this year, and next year they have 4. You think it's going to try to go back to business as usual next year?
It depends. Well, Neon just got an additional. I mean, it was in the news today. They got $200 million in like funding
Really?
to continue to like produce movies and acquire movies. So I think it's been a big year for independence. You know, like the fact that Terrifier made so much money, and it's like the only movie from. They don't even distribute anything else. This distribution, right?
Yeah, that's it.
It's like
Scream.
Bloody Disgusting. It was a website, right, where they did movie reviews. And just to turn it into this, that's so huge. I think that, I mean, like, you look at like Smile 2, right, which was fine, you know, very mainstream horror, and it did well in the theaters.
Yeah.
But, you know, stuff like Terrifier Substance kind of like blew it away from a profit margin wise, you know? They both had way smaller budgets.
Yeah, they definitely didn't have the
I
marketing.
hope that movies, that like studios are going to be like, let's take some chances on some of these smaller movies over here, y'all. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think it's time to go back to that. We need that.
If you have $100 million, make 5 $20 million movies.
Like if you spend, yeah, exactly. If you spend, instead of spending $100 million on just one tent pole, you can spend $10 million on 10, or just break that up somehow. Take some chances, play some bets. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
Just try and make it happen.
Come on, ready. I
Yeah.
just go with my gut.
Exactly. We need some more Bob Evans.
Yeah, we just need someone that will roll the dice.
But I think when I think about this year in movies, it's like mostly horror, and I all like the Oscar movies are starting to drop right now. I got that movie Blitz. I gotta watch. I heard that's gonna be a good one. The Brutalist is apparently awesome. I don't know when we're gonna get to see that, but I want to see that. But it's 4.5 hours or something.
Oh, wow. Yeah, man. To me, it's just like this has been a very memorable year of these other movies because, and you're right, it just happens to be horror because my other movie that I absolutely loved and I'm going to see again twice, and I told you about it, was Heretic. I freaking loved Heretic so much.
It was good.
Man, it was like, it was just such a thinker. It was like you just like it was very, again, another movie that was completely unpredictable. Like you had no idea where this movie was going. And just when it finally hit that point where you thought you know where it's going, it would go somewhere else again.
Yeah.
Like it was so unpredictable.
Yeah. When I watched that, it made me realize, it's like, where's Blumhouse now? They're gone, aren't they?
I feel
they're,
like
they're not doing anything.
No.
And it's like they've been totally replaced by Neon and A24.
I think they started like trying to get their hands on some IPs, right? And then just try to use the Bloom method of just like, we're not going over this budget and try to make it. And I don't know if it's working or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
they definitely didn't work for The Exorcist.
But anyway, Heretic was, it was really good. And it was impressive the way it's all just shot in a house.
Man, basically you have three actors in a house.
Yeah.
Right? That is like the premise of that. And the tension was so high the entire time. And this was another movie that this new breed of filmmakers that they're taking your expectations and using it against you. You're just waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
And it just never happened. It was the same thing with Anora. Like the heels they never had the turn you were expected. You said you said something about what did you say? There was a strong line of just like he was the villain that like he never raised his voice.
He never raises his voice.
He never raised his voice one time.
Yeah.
Which made it really chilling in a way, right?
Yeah.
He never lost control.
Yeah.
Just like when somebody is that confident and that in control with your destiny, that is probably more terrifying than somebody like coming at you screaming.
Right.
Because then at least you got like a puncher's chance. Like maybe in the chaos I can make an escape. But these girls had the premise of just like, okay, here are these two doors. I'm letting you go. I'm not holding you here. You can leave whenever you want. But you have to pick the door you need to go to. And here's the one that's faith, and here's the one that's no faith. I believe, I don't believe. And I just need you to pick which door you go, and then you can go from the door. He's explaining, he's like, you saw my house from the road, right? You just go out the back there, just like, go ahead and leave. But you need to pick which door. I was like, and they were just started like playing to like, oh, he's playing with our minds. Maybe he's playing mind games. I'm going to try to do it. Right there became like Princess Bride of like trying to figure out how do I switch the poison? Which one of the poison? Like you're trying to start to play chess, but you started off playing checkers and this guy's been playing chess all along. Like you're having to change mid game.
Right.
And
then it's like Uno reverse card.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened. You did not expect this at all. And it has a couple of twists. Maybe that's the cool thing about it is like everyone's like, what's the twist? I was like, I don't know. There's more than one, in my opinion.
Right.
There's way more than one twist.
I don't know that there's twists. There's reveals.
Reveals,
right?
yeah. Slow reveals. And just like, again, it's like one of those things like, oh, you thought you were looking at fish, were you? But look at this. It's this. And like, wait. And then all of a sudden your eyes adjust to see what you're really looking at.
Right.
And it just blows your way. And this is another one. Another very unexpected ending that just made you walk out and like, wait a minute. That could have ended in one or two ways. Which way was that? Like they set up for it perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really good. Really good. Another one we missed at Fantastic Fest.
Yeah, that was one of the secret. We know now. We know the gimmick. Next year, we know what to do. We know the move to make. But that actually did. I think it did pretty well in the box office.
It's still
too,
going,
right?
I think, right?
Yeah.
Had to be low budget. They just shot it at one house. That's another one. I could see. I could see Hugh Grant getting the Oscar rub for that one.
That would be nice. That would be cool.
Very good. Like I don't know what are the big Oscar movies this year. There's not. I
doesn't-
don't feel like there's 10. There's usually 10, right?
Yeah, no, they don't.
I don't think there's 10.
It doesn't feel like there's a big one that's coming.
Yeah.
Like what was Heretic? So they said Heretic's already made like 31 million worldwide, and there's no way. it was more like you said. He must. I would take if you're an actor of of his caliber, and you get to stretch that. I mean, Topher Grace was like a B player in this,
That was a weird role for him.
right?
He didn't even, he never comes back in the movie. It's weird.
And that was another tension builder because I'm like, okay, that's Topher Grace.
Yeah.
Okay, something's gonna happen.
Exactly.
He's calling the cow. Nothing.
Right. If
And
it had been Fez, you'd have been like, oh, well, this is character's not important. But it's Topher Grace, so you think
it's
he's
just like,
coming
okay,
back.
he's coming back. And then even on the comeback, he's just like, it wasn't really a comeback, it was a swerve.
Right.
Oh, man, so good. But yeah, just those 3 movies alone have really been keeping me afloat, in the fall. I mean, there were some, like, I don't remember the horror movies that came out that I watched, other, like, I mean, I feel like Terrifier dominated October for us. Like, it was just so fresh on
Well,
the
you
brain.
saw a Smile too.
Smile 2, that was
Was
the
a
other
big one as well.
which I did enjoy.
Yeah, it was fine.
I did enjoy it. Like, actually, I liked it way better than the first one. And then I didn't realize, what's his name was the cop in that first one. Like, I never put 2 and 2 together. Dinner
Right.
in America, and that he was the reveal in that.
Right.
And do you feel like now that I feel like how do you say his last
Gallner?
name? Gallner, like his stock has risen.
For sure.
Like, who was it? I think it was either Mark Ruffalo or somebody tweeted out, and he's just like, does this guy ever make bad movies? Because he was talking about Dinner in America, and then they were talking about Strange Darling. Like,
Yeah.
does he make bad movies?
And he's been in a lot of stuff. He was in like Red State and Jennifer's Body. and
Yeah.
He's, lots of episodes of Law and Order.
Oh, that's what he was. But yeah, between Dinner in America and Strange Darling, the 1-2 punch for us for this late summer, early fall, those were so freaking good.
Yeah.
That was another one, Strange Darling, that was like, is so good. You can't say there's no original movies out there. You're just not looking hard enough. I went to a movie theater I never went to because I wanted to see this bad enough.
Go to the theater, everybody, please.
Yeah, just go to the theaters, and you're not going to get distracted. The cat's not going to meow. The dog's not going to bark. The Ring doorbell's not going to go off. You're not going to say, I got to run to the garage and get something, or you're thirsty, let me get you something. You're never going to get taken out of the moment.
You know what I was thinking? Like, how they're making all this big deal about no phones in theaters?
Yeah.
If I was at the theater, if I was the theater head and they wanted to improve that, because like that's the thing, they don't want to put guards in there or something like some
No.
sort of armed guard. It's gonna be like to put your phone away,
Exactly.
or we're throwing you out, right? Nobody
Right.
wants that,
No.
even though would be to some people that would be ideal. Here's what you can do, AMC, right? Just block the Wi-Fi in the theaters.
Right?
Can we do that?
You can Faraday cage that theater.
The
100%.
the technology exists, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're in the theater, there's no Wi-Fi.
Right.
If you need to make a call or do a text, you got to go outside.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that easy enough?
If you're already building
Nobody
out-
will fight. Nobody will have a fight.
Yeah. If you're already building in soundproof walls, you can just throw some of that chicken wire that's going to cause that Faraday cage.
Exactly.
And then just
And problem solved. Everybody wins, and you don't have to have a confrontation with anybody. People they know that if they want to use their phone, it only works outside.
Right.
And they'll go do it.
Yeah.
It might start an epidemic of people walking in and out of the theater, but that's a whole other thing.
That is a different beast altogether.
Yeah.
But I was saying with I know what I was going to say. So with Kyle Gallner, like after we saw like these 2 powerful performances, and they were powerful, both Dinner in America and Strange Darling, did you feel like just his opening scene, he had the James Bond opening scene for Scream, felt stronger than his performance in the first film?
For Smile 2?
Yeah. Like it somehow the ante was upped. Like the intensity for that opening scene in part 2 was way more than the ending of part 1.
I mean, that was a great scene.
Yeah. The whole thing that raised, and they jumped right in. Like this would have been a good movie. Like I didn't rewatch the first one to
Yeah.
go watch the second one because I liked the first one. It was fine, but I mean, it wasn't. I loved the concept. I loved the marketing. I loved it, but I wasn't be like, I can't get it out of my mind. The second one, I kind of started to get that, but that because of that opening scene, that kind of kicked off right where the other one ended.
Yeah.
And then you're like, the rules were starting to be spelled out a little bit more. Like, I feel like as time goes on, there's a chance that, like, when you watch these as a compilation, kind of like what I was talking about, like, I didn't realize between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi the power of, no, I am your father, until years later when you watch them all as a package. I feel like he was just like, it was, there's the spoiler. I mean, you know what's going to happen to him. He caught the virus or whatever you want to call it. But that opening scene was just so strong in Smile 2. Yeah. And I think that had a lot to do with him. Like, he's just like, I don't know if you know this or not, but I just upped my game. Yeah. And we're going to do this. Yeah. And they might have been like, do you, dog? And he did. And he just like, and it brought the house down. Yeah.
What I really liked about that scene at the beginning of Smile 2, because I was pretty lukewarm on the first one. Second one, I was fine, but it's still pretty lukewarm. But that opening scene, what I really enjoyed about it was that it sort of like takes the ball and punts it away from the first movie, so that we can have this reset in the second movie. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like it was a good I think that other like script logic or something, that they would have just had the story continue with him, or somehow and then he wraps somebody else up. But they took the ball and punted it so far away that they kicked the Smile virus to this pop superstar. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was a believable way to do it.
It was very believable. Actually, it made it somehow retconned and made the first one make more sense, because I don't think I fully understood the rules in the first one like I did in the second one. The second one, the rules were very clear.
It's very much, to me, it's an American J-horror. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's basically what's going on. And I think to me, it's like, and this might just be me, but when I watch the Smile movies, I feel like I'm looking through an Instagram filter, you know? It's just got this look to it, or a lot of vignetting going. Anyway, the movies are fine, and I think some folks will probably enjoy them a lot. I have no heat with them at all. I think I'm great. I support them, but I'm lukewarm on them, but they're fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It wasn't any kind of like remake. Now it's an intellectual property, but it didn't start right. Smile came out of nowhere.
It was a short that they turned into a film.
Yeah, the short was really good. Yeah. So it turned out well. Yeah. And again, I don't want to give heat for IP. I mean, you and I are the same. We just love going to the movies. We're not going to not go to there's probably like a 5% window of movies that we're not going to go see. Right. Even movies that we might not be thrilled at, we're going to go at least see, give it a chance. Yeah. I wasn't what were your feelings on the first Gladiator? Like, I liked it, but I mean, I enjoyed it, and it was definitely the sword and sandal.
What year was that?
2000. 24 years ago.
I honestly couldn't give you... I remember it was the big movie of the time. Yeah. I remember seeing it multiple times.
Was it nominated for an Oscar?
It won Best Picture.
It did? Okay.
Yes. And then I remember... But what I remember it most for is The Sopranos. When there's a whole season where... What is it? Ralphie is obsessed with Gladiator and quoting it the whole season. So to me, that's what I always remember. I mean, I think it was fine for the time. When I look at it now, I feel like it's kind of cornball-y stuff. But it's fine. It was just what it was.
It was almost like, because that was the retelling of the old Hollywood, like the Charlton Heston sword and sandals.
Let's do Gladiators.
Because after that we had Troy. They started playing with that again. They redid Clash of the Titans.
I think it was a movie of its time. Let's just say that. And of its time, it was a good for its time. It's classic.
I like this, and I probably would say I like this equally as much as I like the first one, Gladiator 2. I like Gladiator 2 as much as I like the first Gladiator, but is that going to stand the test of time? My note would have been, I remember you've heard the rumblings, right? You've always heard of movies that have sequels that never make it never make it out.
Production hell.
Yeah, E.T. Part 2, right?
Yeah.
A second Officer and a Gentleman, another with the spinoff with Lugosi. You always heard these growing up,
Right.
and we didn't have the internet and full of lies now, but before, you could research some stuff.
Right.
We didn't have that, but I recall it was early internet days of, they're going to make a second Gladiator, and people kept trying to crack the code, and they could not crack the code. And I remember, I don't know if it was like the guy from, was it Trent Reznor? Well, there was somebody that wanted to take a crack at it, and they're like, we're going to make him immortal, and every time he wipes his hands on the swing reeds, he wakes up again as another gladiator and another time for another battle. Like, these sequels never made sense. So I've heard a bunch of them. So when this one came out, I didn't know what to expect. If this would have came out in 2005, I think this would have been just as big as the original Gladiator. I think too much time has passed for
sure.
people to appreciate. Because I went back of everything you need to watch on Gladiator before you watch Gladiator 2. Because I was like, I'm not going to sit and watch Gladiator again. And I was like, this dovetails perfectly as a sequel. Like, it worked really well.
Yeah.
The only thing that was a little confusing is the recasting of the kid, right? That made it a little confusing.
Well, we know because we're movie savvy that kids they age out of their roles.
Right. So you could not do that. Like, and they didn't want to spend the CGI money. So like, we'll just recast the kid. But that was the kid in the original, in the first Gladiator. And then we'd find out, the spoiler alert, we can say it because the trailer said it, right? That, that's his son. And it worked out well. And then the dream of the father, came down to the son of free Rome. And Pedro Pascal didn't get to stay a heel very long in that movie, right? He had his baby face turn.
He was never a heel.
Yeah.
He was conflicted
right out of the gate. So, like, when you thought it's just like, it's the general, and he was just, arrow over there, and like doing his thing, you're like, you knew the twin emperors were the true puppeteers, and they were just holding him up.
Sure.
They were great, though. What do you think of those guys?
I thought they were fine. I mean, it was just kind of, to me, I read it as like Gladiator 2, we need two emperors. Because two is twice as evil. I mean, they were pretty much the same guy. I don't know why we needed two of them, honestly.
Right.
They just wanted to do this whole Cain and Abel gimmick. Whatever. It's fine. For me, overall, this movie feels like it's from another time. Like you said, had this come out... When did Gladiator come out?
2000, yep.
Okay, had this come out any time between 2000 and 2015, I think you're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Because it feels like it's from that era. It's just they don't make these historically inaccurate epics anymore.
No.
Because I'm pretty sure they did not have boats in the Colosseum.
They did.
That's a real thing.
They did have boats in there, yeah.
No
when
way.
I went to the Colosseum, and they actually took you down where the water, they say this used to be filled with water because we'd raise the water up, and they would do boat battles.
Oh, well, okay.
What they didn't have was freaking sharks.
Yeah.
They did not have sharks. Supposedly it was like gators and snakes, kind of like don't go in that pond kind of thing. They didn't know what was in there.
Leeches.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So they
that's
added
fine.
to that.
That's fine. But yeah, a lot of it just feels like it's from another time. I half expected because it's like now we're 2024. They're shooting this on 8K cameras, and it's just like I just feel like everything is so clear. You can see Pedro Pascal's armor is fake.
Right.
You just like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just got that thing. And like I'm half expecting the whole time to like somebody just be like line and like zoom to Dom DeLuise in director pants off screen, and it's just like, do it like this. Watch me, Romans. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it just had that feel of like a Mel Brooks thing. But it's not a bad movie.
The Inquisition, what a show. The Inquisition.
Exactly. It just felt like that to me. And like, I don't think and it's just like, I think that this will be enjoyed by and be memed out by many youth and like their dads will be watching this in the living room, standing up with their arms crossed on Thanksgiving or something like that. You know what I mean? It's that kind of a movie.
Yeah, that's a good way.
It's just like, it's not bad. I don't think it's memorable. I think Denzel was great, but I felt like I would have liked to see him more as the antagonist than these dorky, the dorky emperors.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he took them over really fast.
I was just like, I would think I could just have them not be in the movie, and Denzel is the antagonist.
Well, if you
That
think
would've
of
been
like when it got to the point when Denzel was clearly the antagonist when he had that one scene,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, this guy, he was letting them think they were in charge all along, but he played his cards.
It's just an old school mentality of like filmmaking that doesn't take into account how savvy movie audiences are now. No one for a second ever didn't think that the dude was not Maximus's son. Nobody ever thought that he wasn't.
Yeah.
Nobody, you know what I mean?
I think they almost decided that halfway through the trail, like the marketing push for this, right? Because
Nobody would know, and the movie treats it as if it's a surprise.
Yeah.
Also, Denzel's heel turn as a surprise. It's just like, no, we know this is coming. Like, just do it up front, and let the movie play out that way, so we can enjoy the entire experience. I don't know.
I think you're right. I think that was the marketing ploy. The first trailer didn't tell it. The second one literally came right out and says, "Take your father's sword," as you're taking it off the wall, and it says Maximus. So I think there was probably conflicted marketers in there against studio executives of what they should say versus what they shouldn't say.
No, this is in the script writing process.
You think it's script writing?
I think this is early in the process. It's just like, you have to just say this is Maximus's son right off the bat, because someone in this in like the room where they're writing this, someone has to point out, is like, the audience is going to assume it's his son.
Right.
It's like, yeah, but it's not. It's like, but they're going to assume it. It's like, well, let's make it not, and then we'll reveal it is. It's like, but they're going to be assuming it the whole time. So if you do a swerve, it's just like they already knew that, and it's not going to be an effective swerve.
Yeah, no, it didn't. I don't think it was any.
So anyway,
big surprise.
it's a fine movie.
It's good. Yeah, I mean,
it's a fine
good.
movie. I would just say that it's just kind of like not super memorable. It's not going to win Best Picture.
No.
It won't get any nominations for anything. Maybe like Best Costume.
Yeah,
And you know what? I have heat with Pedro Pascal. I think that this dude, like, as I'm watching this movie, I'm just like, can Pedro Pascal just do a different look for one movie? It's like he's been rocking the same shaggy hairdo and mustache for a while. And I'm just like, I can't take him seriously now. I don't see Glutorius the Roman. I just see Pedro Pascal.
The internet's daddy.
Yeah, like, couldn't you just like slick your hair back? Maybe like thin out your mustache, do anything.
Well, dude, we talked about this, man, and that I was one of the few that was very hesitant on the Pedro Pascal casting of Mr. Fantastic, because are we going to be able to see Mr. Fantastic, or is it going to be Pedro Pascal?
I think it's terrible casting.
Right?
I think it's. I think I'm very, very lukewarm on that. Like, I don't know that that's going to work at all. Especially that he's just rocking the same look, man.
Yeah, it's supposedly taking place in the 60s.
He's going to be the same look for Mr. Fantastic, Gladiator 2, the Last of Us, everything. Like, just like, I don't know, like, do something different. Get a buzz cut.
You could run the risk of what happens to The Rock, right? I mean, one of the big reasons nobody bought The Rock is Black Adam, because they're like, oh, The Rock can fly now? They didn't say, oh, Black Adam.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because he's the same in every role.
Exactly.
So I don't know how that's going to be, but I did realize that, wow, we're getting Johnny Storm and Mr. Fantastic in the same movie right here.
Yeah.
It didn't hit it. And then I was just thinking, along the lines, because like I said, if you like the first Gladiator, you're going to like this second Gladiator. I think because
you're 50.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be totally, exactly. You're going to be totally fine.
So it's no problem.
Yeah.
If you were too young to watch the first Gladiator, you're not going to probably enjoy this that much. You'll probably like it better when someone streams it and reacts to it.
Right?
Yeah.
But I was thinking, it was like, is this a generational thing? Because I'm like, oh, is Ridley Scott, like, because, he's kind of an older filmmaker. Is he not going, is it because he was kind of doing an older style? But no, because he did House of Gucci a couple of years ago, and that was great.
I didn't see that one, but yeah.
House of Gucci was great.
Yeah.
That was really good. Adam Driver and Lady Gaga and Al Pacino.
Right.
That was really good. I still did not watch Napoleon, which I guess that would probably be a little bit more in the wheelhouse of just like of this film, right?
Yeah.
Another war epic.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He Raised by Wolves. So I don't think it's a generational thing. But by the way, also pretty funny. He's not buying. He thinks Quentin Tarantino's working everybody. It's like he's not retiring after 10 films. He's like, shut up and make another movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be interesting.
I agree. And I'll tell you exactly why I think that, because Quentin Tarantino is now a dad and has multiple kids. And he's going to have to keep working.
Right.
Maybe he won't direct, but he will write. He will do TV shows.
Yeah.
He will do books. He will do whatever. He's not going anywhere. And eventually, one more film.
I'm all for it. I don't want him to retire. I don't think it's kind of like what Bill Maher is always saying, is just like, maybe you should stop when your stuff stops being good.
But he doesn't. He doesn't
make bad
He's just
films.
been batting 1,000 his whole life, and he's never gotten a bad review. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, he just never. He just wants to keep it that. He wants to just bat 1,000 for his career on his baseball card.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. So
I just think he's that. He loves cinema so much. He just wants to have that.
Yeah.
And I think that, I've always thought about Quentin Tarantino is that he's like the greatest cinema mind of our time.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the best director of our time,
That's
or
a
the
good
best
way to put it,
filmmaker
yeah.
of our time. But he's like the greatest cinema mind of our time.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, cinema, because his homages, whatever you want to call it, nobody ever said, "Oh, he took that from this movie." Because he told you the movie took it from, and he just made it great.
Yeah.
Or maybe he took it from a movie you never saw and you would have never seen.
Right.
And it was great. Or just like think about listening to his podcast, and he'll go back and pull a random movie out there, and then you go watch it. It's like, damn, that was really good.
Little Darlings, man. I love that
Yeah,
movie.
he always just does. So yeah, I think you're right. That might. I hope it's a work. But yeah, I just laughed when Ridley Scott said that. Just like, just go make another movie.
But Ridley Scott, if you compare them, he's like Gladiator. He's making a movie, and Gladiator 2 is a very well-made movie. But
Oh yeah,
but he is making a movie from 20 years ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's making a movie. He's not like elevating the form. He's playing the hits.
yeah,
And that, what, the hits are good, but I could see where Tarantino doesn't want to stop being an innovator and, a disruptor kind of a guy.
right.
Not just a guy who makes a movie and maybe people see it, maybe people don't.
I mean, yeah, because he's never like he's the writer for hire, right? But he's not the director for hire.
I think
Unless-
he does a lot of. I think he does a lot of uncredited writing.
Yeah, I think so too.
He does a lot of script doctoring and stuff like that, which is just racks up cash. I'm sure.
Like, I mean, he was a big part of Sin City, right?
Yeah, he wrote he secretly wrote Crimson Tide.
Yeah, he did. All that stuff.
Yeah,
That's just so wild that he does that. But yeah, so again, fine, solid movie.
fine.
I guess we'll cover another IP film here. It's just like because we didn't get to talk about it last month. Venom 3,
Venom
The
3.
Last Dance. I
Yeah.
would say it was probably the best of all three Venoms.
Really?
I was not a fan of Part 2 at all.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they completely dropped the ball on 2.
Part 2 is terrible.
One was good. One was very good because you finally got to see Venom come on screen.
Right.
And Topher Grace callback. I mean, we've seen Venom on screen before.
That wasn't actually Venom though.
So we had this. So you're like, okay, Tom Hardy's great. So, but to me, Venom 3 was the most fun of all the Venoms that I had.
Really?
Yeah.
I found it practically unwatchable.
Really?
I thought it
That's
was
you
like,
worse than the second one?
yeah. I thought it's easily the worst movie I've seen this year.
Oh wow.
Like, I thought that this movie, I just had never been more bored in a comic book movie my entire life. And, like, this whole thing with, like, there's, like, at the beginning of the movie, Venom, not Eddie Brock, whatever. The suit,
Eddie.
the head, yeah, that guy, is like, I can't turn into Venom or they'll spot me. So, like, the whole movie is just, what's his name? Tom Hardy, just running around in sandals for the whole movie.
Eddie,
I was just
we
like,
need better shoes.
I was just like, what is this, man? And then, like, they had the, yeah, I just thought it was awful.
Oh,
I
man.
had not seen a worse movie. Well, I think it's a close tie between Venom 3 and Trap. That's my worst,
you hated Trap.
worst movies of the year.
Oh man, we were just Trap. So what would you like if you the big three, right? The big three is Venom, Madam Web, and Morbius. I mean, you've seen them all, right?
Yeah.
What would you say was the worst of the three?
What's the worst? I honestly think Venom 3 is the worst of the three. I honestly have not seen a worse movie than that.
The Venom 3? Wow, okay.
I just thought it was so bad.
Sony, listen to us. Stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
Stop with the nonsense.
Yeah.
No more. Stick to your animation and stop. Because we got Kraven the Hunter finally coming out in 2 weeks. We've been talking about this movie for like 2 years.
Right.
And this is going to be the fourth storming of the windmill in the Spider-Man universe that they own. The Spider-Man live-action universe. We're going to have Kraven. And you already have such a bad taste in your mouth from Venom. And 2 months later, we're finally getting we're finally getting this Kraven. But don't worry, it's R rating. And that saves everything, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll get some F-bombs in there, some extra blood. I won't be watching Kraven.
No?
I wasn't going to watch Venom. I just went with a friend, their kid wanted to see it. So I was like, you want to go see this? And the whole time we were just like, what is happening in this movie? What is going on?
Oh man, yeah, I liked it. I mean, because I really was disappointed by the second one, so I went
The
in
second
with
one's terrible too. Yeah.
I went in with a really, really low bar. Maybe it was because Keeley from Ted Lasso was in there, and that made me feel okay.
Yeah.
But I definitely would say out of those three, I Madam Web I enjoyed the most for its camp feeling. I
enjoyed Madam Web the most too. Yeah, for sure.
I will be in first
That was like
line for those midnight showings like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, you said that back in the day, and now that I think about it, that could be a thing.
I would 100% when we open our theater would need to do that. But I don't know what's going to happen with Kraven. I really don't. Here's the thing. And I saw a few people say this as well. The Penguin is the best television show that came out in 2024. And it's probably an argument for... You can probably put in an argument of like, we'll see how the test of time of how it holds up. If it just stays as these 8 encapsulated episodes by themselves...
Sure.
It could be. It was groundbreaking television. But here's one thing it did show. Did you finish watching it yet?
No.
I'm not going to spoil it. But it just showed, guess what, Sony? You don't have to turn the heels into baby faces just because you want them to lead the movie.
Right.
And that's what they try to do with all these villains that we're talking about are villains. These are Spider-Man villains. I mean, Sinister Six. It's right there in the word, sinister.
Right.
Why do you have them saving people?
Venom.
Yeah.
What is a hero named Venom?
Yeah. That's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Just like, they don't need... Wait, dude, I'm telling you, and I'm still in... That last episode of The Penguin sticks with me more than the last episode of The Sopranos, the last episode ever.
Right.
It sticks with me more than that episode. That's how powerful this is.
Yeah.
This show. And those two characters, like Colin Farrell, I think is winning he's definitely going to win either a Golden Globe or he's going to win an Emmy, and it's going to be the second Batman villain that's ever won an award because he gets lost in this role.
Yeah.
It makes me want to, like, I thought the Batman with, Robert Pattinson, I thought it was fine. Like, I didn't dislike it. I was like, man, this is really long. And I liked the portrayal of the Penguin. I mean, the Riddler. I thought it was just to make him a psychopath like that. I liked it. Now watching this series, I want to go back and say, is this going to make that even better than when I saw it in the theaters? Because that's how good the Penguin. It had no bad episodes, dude. Mm-hmm. It had no filler.
No skips.
No filler episodes. No skips. And it felt. We were always worried because Nolan changed it, right? Where it's just like, now your DC heroes have to feel a little bit more grounded. It has to feel real. And then, he passed away, Heath Ledger, and then we had Joaquin's version of the Joker, and then the second one got a little campier in the second film, but Penguin, man, it's just like, it's another one. It's just what we were talking. I guess this is the accidental theme of this show. It takes your expectations and uses it against you.
There we go. That's just good filmmaking.
Yeah, and it used it, and that whole thing, man, you'll see from episode 1 to the last episode, you're going to be like, they took me on a motherfucking ride. Sorry, there's our F-bomb. They took me on a ride. But I don't know. I don't know what film I was talking. Oh, we were talking about, so there it is, Sony. Watch the Penguin, and you're like, oh, wait, we can do that with these characters? And people are still going to watch? Yeah, they are, because villains are, all a villain is a conflicted hero. Right. Especially in their own story, they're not even conflicted.
Right. In their mind, they're the hero.
They're the hero in their story. So for a lot of people who live in the gray, they're going to look at that and he's just like, oh, he's just very conflicted. There's not just, what John Carpenter said is just like, no backstory. I just want it to be pure evil, which is, there's room for that. And
yeah,
that's kind of what Heath Ledger did. It's just like this Joker was just like a complete psycho.
Right.
I think now looking back, seeing Joker and Joker 2 versus Heath Ledger's, and that first, when Joaquin won the award, and you're like, oh, wow, okay. I didn't think anyone was going to be able to top Heath Ledger. But now take Joker 2, put those next to each other, I would now say for sure that Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker is better than Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Because, it's just like he's such a psycho, and it just makes you... and.
Joaquin's Joker never really feels like the Joker, I don't think.
Yeah.
In both the films.
Well, in the end, right, and kind of we'll do the spoiler on that because apparently nobody's watching it. That's the whole idea, right? It's just, if they would have just showed Harley Quinn is the one that put the hit out on him because he couldn't cut it, and now she's going to go with the other one. It's just like he was just like the inspiration for the Joker, and it's always just somebody else is going to just pass the mantle. Some are going to be more psycho than others.
Yeah.
But he was just the inspiration he was the birth of the very first Joker.
Yeah.
But I don't think that came across. Like when she said you got a visitor, I thought it was going to be, the setup was going to be the Harley Quinn set him up. But it was just a regular, very generic.
I don't buy that was even Harley Quinn. They never call her Harley Quinn.
No, yeah.
She's just Lee. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That movie's a whole other thing. I'm very back and forth on that movie. There's things I like, and there's a lot of things.
There's a lot of
really
stuff
bad.
in there that I do like in there, and I do like. Even though they gave no logical explanation for the music, I still enjoyed the music.
Yeah.
And even though, there was no. I think only the Joker Is Me was a Lady Gaga original.
Yeah.
But they were singing a lot of classics. But
I think there was just maybe too much music.
Yeah.
I think the first musical number works really well. And when I was watching it, the first musical number, I was just like, oh, that actually kind of worked. But then they start doing it over and over. And I'm just like, wait a minute. It's like, this just feels like too much. And then there's I can see why folks would be into it. And I think there's a lot of going on there. But I think to me, it just suffers from the fact that it's called Joker. Had it just called Arthur the Clown or whatever, Part 2, critics would be all over it and be like, oh man, it's so surreal and sad.
How do you think it's going to stand the test of time? You think it's going to get better or worse with time?
I don't know. I don't see this improving over time, honestly. It just, yeah, it feels too random. It feels like, when he starts doing the Southern accent in court, and that goes on forever. I'm just like if he'd done it like as a joke for one scene, I think I don't know. I just think there's a lot going on here where the director intentionally wanted us to hate it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. There was a couple. You're right. There was stuff that went on too long. There's some stuff that wasn't fully clear, but there was a lot of good stuff. Like when he
I think the first 30 minutes is so strong.
Yeah.
All the way up to the first song, and then after the first song is where I think it starts to lose its way.
Man, but I do like I did like the little guy's performance on the.
Yeah, that was strong.
And then they show him afterwards in the dream, and he was just doing that little dance.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, that was good. Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff. I need to watch it again at home.
Yeah,
I did give it the 2 viewings, and I felt the same. I didn't hate it, but
yeah,
it was an experience. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I know we just went over the rails on, but we had one more we wanted to talk about.
What's that?
We talk about. Oh, you're so cool, Brewster. So we went and saw Fright Night for Terror Tuesday, and it had an interesting that you said it wasn't as fun as you remembered it.
Yeah, obviously, it's a classic. It's good. I got nothing with it.
It's very good.
But it wasn't as fun as I remembered it being. And I don't have any specific reasons for it. I don't have a review. Obviously, I've seen it 100 times. As I'm watching it, I'm just like, I didn't enjoy it as much. What did you feel?
I liked it, but I know what you're talking about because when we saw American Werewolf in London, I felt the same exact way I did when I see it every time.
Yeah,
you're like, oh yeah, like it hit all the remembers. I think in this one, like you're kind of like Charlie Brewster was kind of a like, I don't know. He should have been more likable.
He's very unlikable.
He was I think that was the problem. And I don't know if we ever remember that from back then because back in the 80s, everything was black and white. You're like, oh, he's the vampire. He's the bad guy. This is the kid. He's the good guy. But like he was screwing around Marcy Darcy. I don't remember her name in the movie. Marcy Darcy for so long in there. She threw a freaking chili cheeseburger in his face. And it's just like he doesn't listen very well. And he's nosing around the neighbors. And can you imagine being so brazen that if you went into your neighbor's house and like, I think you killed somebody. And
Can you imagine what a Karen this kid is? Walking around high school in his tweed blazer with the elbow patches and like just goes calls the cops on his neighbors like, this guy murdered somebody. Like, what an awful kid. He's horrible.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what was hurt because Roddy McDowall was great.
Yeah,
I love Roddy McDowall, man. I love me some Roddy McDowall and Scavenger Hunt. He was so great in Class of '84. He had that same look in his face. He does something with his eyes and his mouth, like you call it shooting the acting out.
Yeah,
like he has this, like he had that same look in his face when he was facing Stegman and his goons in Class of '84 that he did when he realized that the vampire did not have a reflection and he had that same look of fear.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that stood out to me was like I forgot her name that introduced it. She's not the usual Terror Tuesday host.
Oh yeah.
And she was talking about the gay subtext.
Oh, that's right.
And it's like Charlie Brewster does not want to have sex with his girlfriend apparently.
Right.
The whole time. But as I watched the movie, I was like, wait a minute. Are they all gay?
I think you're
it's
right.
Like Charlie Brewster.
Yeah.
What's the girlfriend's name?
Marcy Darcy. From Married with Children, who was gay in real life.
Yeah, and then then the buddy,
Evil Ed.
Yeah, and then Roddy McDowall.
Yeah.
Like every single one of them, I'm just like, oh, this is just like theater kids vampire movie.
Right. It was pretty much a singles mingle in there, right?
Yeah.
Because then the vampire had his helper, his Igor, that these two guys that lived together.
Right.
That's my roommate. So there was a lot, like you said, that she nailed it. There was a lot of
Three's Company vibes.
Yes. Larry Dallas.
But again, not that has any effect on the movie or whatever.
No.
It's just like subtext from back then. like obviously subtext that they included and tried to sneak in there. But like, yeah, I don't know. Fright Night just didn't. I'm watching. I'm just like, this doesn't feel memorable, like as memorable as I remembered it.
Evil Ed is the one that stuck with me a lot, and
Yeah.
and they still nailed that, and they had the little bit of surprise, that look on his face, when he got like the way he screamed,
Right.
the way it hit his head. But that actor is great.
Right.
He was the guy that couldn't stop masturbating in Heaven Help Us.
What movie is that?
Oh, Heaven Help Us! You didn't see Heaven Help Us with Kevin Dillon and Andrew McCarthy?
Oh my God! No,
oh my God, that's so good, and he was in that.
No, I don't.
Oh, it's To Whom, Brother? Like these, it's just like 80s Catholic school in like Brooklyn or something.
I love 80s Catholic school movies.
Oh, dude, do yourself a favor and rent Heaven Help Us.
All right, I'm gonna look it up on Just Watch.
Yeah, Heaven Help Us is so good. I think that might have been my first introduction into Kevin Dillon. But anyway, growing up, going to John Hurt is in it too.
Yeah,
it's got a pretty stacked cast. But just if you ever had to do anything with Catholicism or Catholic school, you will appreciate this movie.
100% me.
So you're gonna enjoy that. But yeah, he's the guy. He played Evil Ed, and that "Oh, you're so cool, Brewster," like that sticks in my head. Again, I have a lot of good family memories with our family. We're a big family. There were 6 of us, and my dad loved trying to scare the crap out of us, like especially when it came to movies. Like he always tried to scare us. Like he'd go in the basement and get me a pair of socks, and knowing it was like one of those unfinished basements, and you knew he was gonna lock the door and turn off the light, for a good 20 seconds till he knows you were pretty terrified. Then he'd turn the light on. But he always did that Evil Ed. Oh, you're so cool, Brewster. So when that popped at the end, it's just like a lot of good memories. So,
dude, this looks so low budget.
Heaven Help Us?
Yeah. And you got Wallace Shawn in here?
Yeah, dude. Heaven Help Us was a classic.
I have never heard of this at all.
Really?
Dude, I'm telling you, y'all had at the Mount Islib TV channel, y'all were playing some stuff that got licensed at not other places. This must have been like an East Coast comedy because I've never.
1985, dude.
I'm like looking at
look at this cast. Donald
I
Sutherland.
know movies and I don't recognize this at all.
Andrew McCarthy, Kevin Dillon, Donald Sutherland, Mary Stuart Masterson, John Hurd. Like that is this. Oh, and Patrick Dempsey, he was in it too.
Oh my God.
Dude, it's so funny. I would love to like
Dana Barron.
Oh yeah, that's what they're so. Oh yeah, it was Boston. It just felt like it was also known as Catholic Boys. That's a terrible title. I'm glad they changed it to Heaven Help Us.
Catholic high school boys in trouble.
Yes. Introducing Susan Joyce and Nancy Reed. Who's the director? I wanted to see who directed this.
Michael Diner.
Michael Diner?
Or Michael Dinner. Diner or Dinner? Michael Dinner.
Wonder what else what else did he direct?
Let's
Was
see.
there any other classics in there?
He did.
He did the Wonder Years.
Wonder Years. Some Mayans.
Amazing Stories. Oh, he did the remake of Amazing Stories.
Yeah, so he's been working for years.
Oh, man. Oh, that's just his television. There's no film ones in here. Did he not?
I don't think he did a lot of films.
Yeah.
Anyway, Michael Dinner.
Yeah, worth checking out. Definitely worth checking out. But that's where I got Evil Ed. So I think I really did enjoy his performance. I loved his, the creepy vibe he had going there as Evil Ed.
Look, I love Terror
were
Tuesday.
Were they friends? Like, were Charlie's and Ed friends?
I mean, I think
kind of, but not.
I mean, they were, but like, maybe they were more than friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because he just kept calling him evil. It's like, stop calling me evil.
Because I mean, evil Ed he's sort of like a punk kid.
Yeah.
And Charlie Brewster's, like I said, he wears a blazer to school. So, I mean, obviously they're both kind of like socially outcast.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why they became friends. But they're just, I don't know. Like, I could see maybe there was more going on. Or at least in Evil Ed's mind.
Yeah, for sure. And he was, the way he referred to him as the master and stuff, that was, it was just really cool. What did you think of, what was what was his helper's name? Billy, the guy that lived with them. He wasn't the vampire. He was their Igor.
Oh, I don't remember.
Basic. What was he?
He was Igor.
He was their Igor, but like he gets shot in the noggin, right?
Uh-huh.
And then he gets up, and then they did something with like
Billy. His name is Billy.
Billy.
Yeah.
And then he all of a sudden he just turns into like green ghoul, and then he has like an evil skull. Like,
Yeah.
what was he?
Vampires. Things. Vampire things. I think he was like a ghoul. He's just a ghoul.
That's probably the closest you can think, because I was waiting for him. I was like, oh, is he a werewolf?
He's a ghoul.
He's a ghoul is a good way. Because remember when Evil Ed got it, somehow he turned into a wolf, even though he was a vampire.
What do you mean? He didn't turn into a wolf.
Yeah, remember?
No.
Didn't remember when he was running down the hall after he jumped into the window to get what's her name, the girlfriend, Marcy Darcy, Amanda Bierce, Amy.
Yeah.
She was in the house, and then he turned into a wolf and ran, and then the wood from the stairs stabbed him, and then he turned back into a person.
Yeah.
And then he was just laying there naked. But like, wait, was he a wolf or was he a vampire?
Yeah.
And then he was neither, because then he disappeared, and then he showed up with glowing eyes at the end.
No, I didn't know. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what vampires happens when they bite you.
Yeah, no.
I'm not sure. We may never know.
Oh man, I didn't realize while writing the script for Cloak and Dagger is when Tom Holland amused himself with conceiving of a horror movie. And that's when he got inspired to do Fright Night.
It's a cool idea. I love the idea of Fright Night.
Yeah.
I love the premise. I love the idea of bringing out, Peter Vincent is like, like the old vampire hunter TV guy.
Yeah, that was fun.
Like I love the idea of going to the TV station to get him.
Yeah, it's just to go pick him up.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, your shift is over. Come help us fight this vampire. But like, I think I love the premise. I don't know, but as I'm watching it, the way it played out, I just felt like, I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't feel as fun as I remember it.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's definitely. Stuff how it doesn't age well.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't tell if I just enjoy the movie or if I enjoy the memories that are around the movie.
Yeah,
'Cause I definitely did enjoy it, and I liked a lot of stuff about it.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, we got a couple more Terror Tuesdays coming up, right? We got Maniac. We got Black Christmas.
Yep.
Did you know they're doing a Gremlins party at Alamo too, where you can get some 3D glasses?
No.
But that's not. I don't know. I think that's just like it's not Weird Wednesday or Terror Tuesday or anything.
Just like a Gremlins party.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
They're doing a Krampus party at the Highball.
oh man, speaking of that, I told you, and it was the hot take, and as we're saying a lot of the stuff we don't like. My hot take to you was, Red One is a very fun Christmas movie that it's going to make a fine addition to annual Christmas watching.
That's a hot take.
That is. Because I was with you. I kind of had a low bar. Dropped the bomb. I had a low bar too, because I was just like, oh man, this was what kind of derailed The Rock as being the beloved public figure, right? Because they're like, hey, on Red One, Rock was peeing in bottles.
Showing up late.
Yeah, showing up late and peeing in bottles. Sometimes you show up 8-10 hours late.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that's not late. That means you didn't show up.
Yeah.
Late is like,
It's like
an hour.
You called in.
Yeah, the 8 hours is not late.
Right.
Still think that this probably, they could have shook a lot of the negative press around it if they would have booked somebody else in both of the roles. Even though Chris Evans was fine, I didn't have any. I liked his role more than I expected to like it. But I think if there was two people that had no baggage with this, you would be looking at wow, this movie was phenomenal. I think a lot of people have the baggage with The Rock, the new baggage, and I think they're having trouble seeing Chris Evans as like a wormy thief because he's Captain America.
Yeah.
So you had those two things working against a really fun holiday movie. Lucy Liu was great. The guy who actually plays Santa, what's his name, with big arms, Oscar winner.
Right.
Yeah, he was great too.
Yeah. Simmons.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
What? You didn't remember my name, Parker? What are you doing? But I think you're going to be pleasant. Watch it at home though. I think it's already going to be out of theaters like next week
I mean, it's not even Thanksgiving. Why is it in the theaters
It was
now?
poorly timed release. Poorly timed.
I just think that just seems like they're doing it just to do it.
Yeah, like, let's get ahead of Wicked. First, it's a completely different cast. Like, it's your completely different audience. Why wouldn't you release Red 1 in December? Like, first weekend of December, the same weekend that Violent Night came out. Right? And everybody was so psyched for that. There's just a little tweaks. But supposedly it was not even... This was supposed to go straight to streaming.
Yeah, it looks like a streaming movie.
It's supposed to go straight to streaming, and it's $250 million budget. They said they only need to account for $100 million of it, and then they're fine. Because the rest was just like marketing fiducial, and you're going to order something for 2 days.
Well, that's just great.
So it's already going to be on Prime by like next week. So
Okay.
you'll be totally fine to see it. But I'm curious to see what you think. But I think
Okay,
if Frank
I'm gonna
Grillo-
watch it. I'm gonna watch it in the screening room. I'm gonna give it 100% of my attention.
and see what
But
it
I'm
got.
just telling you, it looks awful. It looks to me like Brock and Chris Evans have zero chemistry, and
No chemistry.
it looks like they're stealing gimmicks from Ant-Man and I don't know what else. But like
Well,
but I'm-
spoiler alert, you are 100% correct. They have no chemistry. That is like not the good part of the film. There's no chemistry. The Rock plays The Rock,
Yeah.
and Chris Evans plays something that like I couldn't get. I don't remember not believing him in Knives Out,
right.
but it was almost like a version of that character. If Frank Grillo and another person would have played in these roles, I think again, people would have been raving about this.
Look, Frank Grillo and I don't know who else as the Chris Evans role. Who's like a small indie actor that could have played that role instead of Chris Evans?
Kyle Gallner.
Frank Grillo, Kyle Gallner.
Oh my gosh.
I could do that.
Yeah.
And then you make it for $25 million?
Right.
Why not? Give me that movie.
Yeah, because what I do, I enjoyed Lucy Liu. I even enjoyed some of the Christmas. I think kids are going to love this movie. This is a kids movie, though. Make no mistake. This is made for kids. So if you're in there looking for the adult humor that Rock usually sneaks in, they did not sneak any adult humor in here. This is a kids movie, and I think that's why I was okay with it and I had fun with it. And like, kids are really going to like this. Oh, how do you beat a snowman? And just like, elf stands for like something that they have to do with the guarding of the mythological creatures that doesn't just include Santa Claus.
Right.
So like when they're interrogating someone, they bring in the headless horseman because like he's the usual suspect when things start going crazy. Like there's a lot of like wink nods like, oh, you guys do Bigfoot? Like, oh, this is cool. It's like
Seed planting for future spin-offs.
exactly. And this could have been a really good series. Like maybe Prime should have said do 8 episodes. I don't know, but again, I enjoyed it, so I'm really curious when you watch it. Wait closer to Christmas, like drink some eggnog or something while you watch it.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it anytime soon. Like in the middle of the beginning of November. No way.
Yeah, just
That sounds crazy.
suck on a freaking candy cane when you're doing it. Like get in the Christmas spirit, because I don't feel like there's any Christmas movies coming out next month. Is there?
No, we're just gonna have to watch Lethal Weapon on Friday after next on a loop.
Because I was thinking, what is coming out? I was like, we got Y2K, we got Werewolves with Frank. Speaking of Frank Grillo,
Which is not sure. It's only show. It's not showing hardly anywhere in Austin.
Really?
Yeah, it's playing at Lakeline.
Oh, okay. Then I'll make that journey. Werewolves. What else is coming out? Nosferatu comes out on Christmas Day.
Can't wait for that.
Like, wait a minute. Like, you're going to show Nosferatu on Christmas Day, but not Red One on Christmas Day?
I think that's an easy decision, in my opinion.
It's like,
But we'll see.
Like, why would they do that? But
It's an awful title too. What an awful title.
Oh yeah, Red One. They went for the whole spy gimmicky thing. I'm just like they're more of a.
They don't deserve our leeway. If I'm in my humble opinion, I understand, and that's cool that you enjoyed it, and I'm still going to watch it and give it its first shake.
Yeah.
But a $250 million movie with
That is
The
a lot.
Rock and Chris Evans does not need us to give it any kind of like explanation or leeway or whatever. It's just like, you just be a good movie. That's it. We don't. It's you know what I mean. It's
true.
not like you know what I mean.
Yeah, no,
It's
you're right.
not like it's just like your kid or your nephew would just say, well, if he'd have gotten his shot, he'd have done this, whatever. But it's just like, no, just you have enough going for you.
Yeah,
Just be good.
just make a good movie. That is a good way to put it. You're right. It doesn't need the leeway.
Yeah.
I'm just a little worried. I'm just looking at the release calendar for December, and I'm literally seeing 0 Christmas movies. Like, what is happening? Like, not even the reverse Christmas level horror movie, The Activated Man, Craven the Hunter. Oh man,
Can we get a Terrifier 3 re-release for Christmas Eve? I would like.
you
that.
might as well at this point, so you have something that feels like Christmas.
I think that would be great. I would be up for that.
You're getting the 70th anniversary of re-release of White Christmas. You're getting Sonic the Hedgehog. You're getting The Brutalist, Mufasa, The Lion King, prequel that we didn't know exists. Oh, it is! Terrifier 3 is getting re-released on Christmas Eve.
Nice. I'm there. All right, after church.
Yeah, because usually on Christmas Day, isn't there like usually a giant sleth of films all coming out on that day? That's usually like, oh my God, how am I going to see 5 movies? 5 movies came out today.
There's usually, on Christmas Eve, usually.
You're getting A Complete Unknown, the Timothée Chalamet, Bob Dylan movie. You're getting Nosferatu, Fire Inside, Better Man, Between Borders. Like, I don't even know what these are. What? That's wild, dude. We got no Christmas movies coming out in December.
They all go straight to video, no?
Yeah, they must. But yeah, Red One missed a huge opportunity. A huge opportunity. But again, we're not going to just be a good. You come here, be a good movie.
Just be a good movie.
Just be a good.
You've had everything going for you your whole life.
Oh, cool. All right, man. I think that's a show. Right, that is a show.
Yeah, we're over the 2-hour mark. Okay.
Oh yeah, we haven't been over the 2-hour mark in a while.
Let's see how AI deals with this.
Yeah, deal with this artificial intelligence.
We have an AI assistant editor now. Folks who don't know. So we'll see how this spins out into smaller bits.
Just spits it out and see what it does. But yeah, it's still, I mean, I know we're early in our Black Friday sale, but please like, subscribe, and share. It's all free. We're going to have that Black Friday sale probably go through all the year. Like, subscribe, share is always going to be free.
Yep.
Just throw us that if you want to throw us
Leave
a buck.
comments. Comments are free.
Comments are good.
We will respond at no cost.
Yeah. Even if you're a bot comment, we might just throw something
If you
in
leave
there.
a comment, we'll give it a heart and a thumbs up and a reply.
That's fair. What else can you ask for? Where else can you get a deal?
For free.
I'll buy that for $1. You don't even need the dollar. It's free. All right. That's probably good.
All right. Well,
we'll
have a
see
good
you.
Black Friday. Have a
Yeah,
good
enjoy
Thanksgiving.
Black Friday and T-Day, and we'll see you.
We back next week, or
yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah, we can do.
All right.
We'll see you then.
Later.